It was a normal Tuesday when the world changed forever. The sun rose as usual over Seoul, South Korea. People went to work, children to school. No one knew that high above them, something extraordinary was about to happen. In a secret government building, Jae-sung sat at his desk. He was a diplomat, used to dealing with other countries. But today would be different. His phone rang. The voice on the other end was excited and scared. "Turn on the TV now," his boss shouted. Jae-sung grabbed the remote and switched on the large screen on the wall. His eyes went wide. Every channel showed the same thing. A massive spaceship hovering over New York City. "It's not just New York," his boss said. "They're everywhere, over every major city. We need you here now." Jae-sung didn't waste time. He grabbed his coat and ran out the door. As he drove to the government building, he saw people pointing at the sky. Above Seoul, a huge ship floated silently. It was shaped like a giant silver egg, smooth and shiny. Jae-sung felt a mix of fear and wonder. At the same time, in a lab across the city, Yeon-ji was staring at her computer screen. As a scientist, she had always hoped for proof of alien life. But this was beyond her wildest dreams. Her team crowded around her, watching as data poured in from the ships. "They're sending a signal," one of her colleagues shouted. Yeon-ji's fingers flew over the keyboard. She worked to decode the message, her heart racing. After what felt like hours but was only minutes, words appeared on her screen. "We come in peace," she read out loud. The room fell silent. Back at the government building, Jae-sung joined a room full of officials. They all looked worried and confused. On a big screen, they watched as the alien message was broadcast worldwide. A figure appeared. It looked almost human, but with blue skin and large almond-shaped eyes. It spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, we are the Vorax. We have watched your planet for many years. We see that you are a young species, still learning. We offer our protection and guidance. In return, we ask for some of your planet's resources. This is a fair exchange. We await your response." The room erupted in noise. Everyone talked at once. Jae-sung stayed quiet, thinking hard. Something about this didn't feel right. The president stood up, silencing everyone. "We need to respond." "But how?" "Jae-sung, what do you think?" Jae-sung took a deep breath. "Sir, we should be careful. They say they come in peace, but they're asking for our resources. We don't know their true intentions." The president nodded. "You're right. We need more information. And we need to talk to other countries." Over the next few days, Jae-sung worked nonstop. He talked to diplomats from around the world. Everyone was scared, but they agreed. Earth needed to stand united. Meanwhile, Yeon-ji and her team studied the alien ships. They couldn't understand the advanced technology. But Yeon-ji noticed something strange. The ships seemed to avoid areas with strong magnetic fields. "It's like they're allergic to them," she told her team. She made a note to tell the government about this. A week after the aliens arrived, Earth was ready to respond. Jae-sung helped write the message. The President of the United States would deliver it, speaking for all of Earth. Millions watched as the President stood before the cameras. The alien ships loomed in the background. "To the Vorax," he began, "we thank you for your offer. Earth has many diverse cultures and governments. We need time to discuss your proposal. We ask that you give us space to do this. Please move your ships away from our cities. We will contact you when we are ready to talk more." Jae-sung held his breath as they waited for a response. Hours passed. Then, a new message came from the Vorax. The blue alien appeared again. This time, it didn't look so friendly. "We are disappointed," it said. "We offered you a great opportunity. Your response shows that you are not ready for our help. We will return when you are more cooperative." With that, the ships began to move. They rose higher and higher until they disappeared from sight. People around the world cheered. But Jae-sung and Yeon-ji, in their different parts of Seoul, felt uneasy. Something told them this wasn't over. The real test was yet to come. As night fell over Seoul, Jae-sung looked up at the stars. He couldn't shake the feeling that Earth had just become part of something much bigger and much more dangerous. 3 months had passed since the Vorax left Earth. Life slowly returned to normal. But for Jae-sung and Yeonji, normal was a thing of the past. Jae-sung spent his days in meetings. Leaders from around the world talked endlessly about the aliens. Some wanted to prepare for war. Others hoped for peace. Jae-sung listened to them all, trying to find a middle ground. One night, as he walked home, Jae-sung looked up at the stars. He wondered if the Vorax were up there, watching. The thought made him shiver. Across the city, Yeonji worked late in her lab. She hadn't stopped studying the data from the alien ships. Something about their technology bothered her. It was advanced, yes, but also strange. It's like they're afraid of something, she muttered to herself. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the building. Yeonji's phone buzzed with an urgent message. Turn on the news now. With shaking hands, she grabbed the remote. The TV flickered to life, showing a familiar and terrifying sight. The Vorax ships were back, and there were more of them. Jae-sung was already at the government building when the ships appeared. He watched in horror as they positioned themselves over every major city on Earth. This time, they were lower in the sky, their massive forms blocking out the sun. A message came through on all channels. The blue alien appeared, but now its friendly mask was gone. Its voice was cold and hard. People of Earth, it said, we gave you time to consider our generous offer. Now we demand your answer. Submit to us, or face the consequences. The room erupted in panic. Officials shouted over each other, fear clear in their voices. Jae-sung tried to stay calm, but his heart raced. The president called for quiet. We need options, he said. Jae-sung, what can we do? Jae-sung took a deep breath. We can try to negotiate, he said. Buy more time. Maybe find out what they really want. The president nodded. Do it, he said. But be careful. As Jae-sung prepared to speak with the Vorax, Yeonji was summoned to a secret military base. She brought all her research, hoping it might help. At the base, she met with top scientists and military leaders. They showed her something that made her gasp. It was a piece of Vorax technology, recovered from their last visit. We need you to figure out how it works, a general told her. Fast. Yeonji nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. Back in Seoul, Jae-sung stood before a camera. He would speak directly to the Vorax commander. He tried to keep his voice steady as he began. We hear your demand, he said. But we have questions. What exactly do you want from us? How long would this submission last? We need more information before we can decide. The response came quickly. The Vorax commander's face filled the screen, its alien features twisted in what looked like anger. You dare to question us? It hissed. We offer you the chance to join a great empire. Your planet would be protected. Your people would serve a greater purpose. But if you refuse, the image changed, showing a barren, lifeless planet. The message was clear: submit or be destroyed. Jae-sung felt a chill run down his spine. He looked at the president, who nodded grimly. They needed more time. We understand the importance of your offer, Jae-sung said carefully, but our world has many leaders. We need time to reach a unanimous decision. Can you give us 1 week? The Vorax commander glared. For a moment, Jae-sung thought it would refuse. Then it spoke. 1 week, it said. No more. When we return, you will submit, or you will die. The transmission cut off. The room was silent. Miles away, Yeonji looked up from her work. She had made a discovery. The Vorax technology wasn't just advanced. It was adapted, like it was made to work in an environment very different from Earth. They're not used to our planet, she realized. Maybe that's why they want it so badly. As night fell over a frightened world, Jae-sung and Yeonji both felt the weight of what was to come. They had bought Earth a week. But what could they do in 7 short days to save their planet? In homes across the globe, people huddled together, watching the alien ships looming overhead. The world held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The clock was ticking. Earth had 1 week to find a way to survive. The true test of humanity's strength was about to begin. 3 days had passed since the Vorax gave their ultimatum. The world was in chaos. People were scared, angry, and confused. In every country, leaders argued about what to do. Jae-sung hadn't slept in days. He moved from one emergency meeting to another, trying to keep countries from fighting each other instead of focusing on the real threat. Late one night, as he sat alone in his office, something strange happened. His computer screen flickered and went dark. Then, words appeared. "We can help. Meet us. Come alone. Han River Park. Midnight." Jae-sung stared at the screen. Was this a trap, or a real chance for help? He decided to risk it. At the same time, Yeonji was making progress in her lab. She had figured out more about the Vorax technology. It was designed for a world with less gravity and a different atmosphere. "They're not comfortable here," she told her team. "That's why they stay in their ships. Earth is hard for them to live on." Just as she finished speaking, her computer screen went black. The same message Jae-sung saw appeared before her. Yeonji hesitated. She knew she should tell someone, but something told her this was important. She grabbed her coat and left. At midnight, Jae-sung and Yeonji arrived at the park from different directions. They were surprised to see each other. "You got the message too?" Jae-sung asked. Yeonji nodded. Suddenly, the air in front of them shimmered. A figure appeared, as if stepping out of thin air. It wasn't human, but it wasn't Vorax either. It was tall and slender, with silver skin that seemed to glow in the moonlight. "I am Lumu," the being said. Its voice was soft and musical. "I am a Zephyrian. We have been watching your world and the Vorax. We want to help." Jae-sung and Yeonji exchanged looks. Another alien race. Could they trust this one? "Why should we believe you?" Jae-sung asked. Lumi's large, kind eyes looked sad. "The Vorax have done this before. They find worlds they like and take them by force. We have been fighting them for a long time." Yeonji stepped forward. "You know about their technology. Can you tell us how to stop them?" Lumi nodded. "Their ships and weapons are powerful, but they have a weakness. They cannot handle sudden changes in magnetic fields. It hurts them and damages their tech." Yeonji's eyes lit up. This matched what she had discovered. "But why help us?" Jae-sung asked. He was still suspicious. "Because every world the Vorax take makes them stronger," Lumi explained. "And because we believe your people have potential. You are young, but strong in ways the Vorax don't understand." Jae-sung thought hard. This could be the break they needed. But trusting another alien race was risky. "How can you help us?" he finally asked. Lumi held out a small glowing orb. "This contains information about Vorax weaknesses and battle strategies. It also has a way to contact us if you need more help." Yeonji took the orb carefully. As soon as she touched it, information flooded her mind. She gasped. "It's true," she said to Jae-sung. "This could save us." Jae-sung nodded slowly. "Thank you," he said to Lumi. "But why don't you fight the Vorax directly?" Lumi's face showed sadness again. "We are few, and they are many. We help where we can, in secret. If they knew we were here, they would destroy your world immediately." With that, Lumi began to fade. "Use the information wisely. You have more strength than you know. Good luck." In a blink, Lumi was gone. Jae-sung and Yeonji stood in silence for a moment. Then, Yeonji spoke. "We need to tell the others. This changes everything." Jae-sung agreed. As they rushed back to the government building, hope began to grow. Maybe, just maybe, Earth had a chance. But time was running out. They had only 4 days left before the Vorax returned. 4 days to prepare a defense that could save humanity. As the sun began to rise over Seoul, Jae-sung and Yeonji knew that the real work was just beginning. The fate of Earth now rested in their hands, and in the strange alien technology they carried. The countdown to humanity's greatest test had begun. The next 3 days were a blur of activity. Jae-sung and Yeonji worked nonstop, sharing the Zephyrian information with world leaders and top scientists. At first, many didn't believe them. But when Yeonji showed them the advanced tech in the orb, they changed their minds quickly. We need to build weapons that can create strong, changing magnetic fields, Yeonji explained to a room full of military leaders. It won't destroy their ships, but it will hurt them and mess up their tech. Around the world, factories started making these new weapons. They looked like big metal dishes on trucks. Scientists called them EMPs, electromagnetic pulse generators. Meanwhile, Jae-sung had a different job. He had to convince world leaders to work together. "We can't fight each other now," he said in a global broadcast. "The whole world needs to stand as one against the Vorax." People listened. For the first time in history, all countries agreed to fight together. But time was running out. They had only 1 day left before the Vorax would return. On the last night, Jae-sung couldn't sleep. He stood on the roof of the government building, looking at the stars. The Vorax ships were up there, waiting. He felt scared, but also ready. Suddenly, the sky lit up. The Vorax were coming early. Alarms sounded all over the city. People ran to shelters. Soldiers got ready to fight. Yeonji was in her lab when she heard the alarms. She grabbed the Zephyrian orb and ran to the command center where Jae-sung was. "They're attacking all major cities at once," a general said, pointing to a map. Red dots showed where the Vorax ships were. "They think it will be easy," Jae-sung said. "Let's prove them wrong." The Vorax ships came down from the sky, shooting bright beams of energy. Buildings exploded. It looked bad. But then, the humans fought back. All over the world, the EMP trucks turned on. They shot invisible waves at the Vorax ships. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one of the ships started to wobble. Its energy beams flickered and went out. "It's working," Yeonji shouted, watching the screens. More and more Vorax ships started having trouble. Some crashed into the ground. Others flew away, like they were drunk. The Vorax hadn't expected this. They thought humans would be easy to beat. Now, they were confused and scared. In New York, a brave pilot flew her jet right at a Vorax ship. She shot her missiles, then turned on her EMP. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire. In Moscow, soldiers used EMP guns to protect people. When Vorax troops tried to land, the EMPs made their suits stop working. The aliens inside looked weak and sick in Earth's air, but the fight wasn't over. There were still many Vorax ships, and they were angry now. The Vorax commander appeared on screens all over Earth. Its blue face looked furious. "How dare you fight back?" it yelled. "We will destroy you all." Jae-sung stepped up to reply. He felt calm now, sure of what to say. "We are not weak," he said clearly. "This is our home. We will defend it. Leave now or face the consequences." For a moment, there was silence. Then the Vorax ships started to rise. They were retreating. Cheers erupted in the command center. Yeonji hugged Jae-sung, laughing and crying at the same time. But Jae-sung knew it wasn't over. The Vorax would be back. And next time, they would be ready for the EMPs. "We won the first battle," he said to Yeonji. "But the war is just beginning." As the sun rose over a damaged but undefeated Earth, people came out of their shelters. They looked at the sky, now clear of alien ships. For the first time, humans knew they could fight back. They weren't helpless. They were strong. The galaxy had thought humans were weak. The Vorax were learning the hard way just how wrong they were. 2 weeks had passed since the first attack. Earth was busy rebuilding and preparing. Everyone knew the Vorax would return, stronger than before. Jae-sung spent his days talking to world leaders. They needed to stay united. Some countries wanted to use the alien tech they had captured to fight each other. Jae-sung had to convince them to work together. The Vorax are the real enemy, he said in a big meeting. We must stand as one to survive. Meanwhile, Yeonji worked day and night in her lab. She knew the Vorax would find a way to block the EMP weapons. They needed something new. One night, as she studied the Zephyrian orb, she had an idea. She called Jae-sung right away. I think I found something, she said excitedly. Come quick. When Jae-sung arrived at the lab, Yeonji showed him a strange, glowing liquid. It's a mix of earth metals and Zephyrian tech, she explained. Watch this. She poured a drop on a piece of Vorax armor they had captured. The armor melted like ice in the sun. Jae-sung's eyes went wide. This could change everything, he said. But before they could celebrate, alarms started blaring. The Vorax were back. This time, their ships looked different. They had a strange, shimmering shield around them. The EMPs won't work now, a soldier said, looking worried. Jae-sung turned to Yeonji. We need that new weapon. Now. Yeonji nodded. I'll need an hour. Can we hold them off that long? Jae-sung looked at the sky, full of Vorax ships. We have to, he said. All over the world, people ran to shelters. Soldiers got ready to fight. This time, they knew what they were facing. The Vorax attacked hard and fast. Their ships fired powerful beams, destroying buildings and tanks. The EMP weapons did nothing against the new shields. In the command center, Jae-sung watched the battle on big screens. Things looked bad. Cities were burning. The human armies were losing. But then, a voice came over the radio. It was Eunji. It's ready, she said. Get our planes in the air. They need to spray this liquid on the Vorax ships. Jae-sung gave the order. All over the world, planes took off. They carried tanks full of the glowing liquid. At first, the Vorax ignored the planes. They thought their shields would protect them. They were wrong. As the planes flew over, they sprayed the liquid. It went right through the shields. Where it touched the Vorax ships, the metal began to melt. The Vorax panicked. Their ships started falling from the sky. Some tried to fly away, but they were too damaged. In the command center, people cheered as they watched the screens. The Vorax were losing. But the battle wasn't over yet. The Vorax commander's angry face appeared on the screens again. You think you've won? It yelled. We will turn your whole planet to dust. The biggest Vorax ship, bigger than a city, moved into position above Earth. It looked ready to fire a weapon that could destroy everything. Jae-sung felt fear in his stomach. But then he had an idea. Yeonji, he called over the radio. Can we use their own ships against them? Yeonji thought for a moment. Yes, she said. If we can get control of one, we could fly it right into their big ship. It was a crazy plan, but it was their only hope. Jae-sung gave the order. A brave pilot volunteered to fly a captured Vorax ship. They covered it in the special liquid to protect it. Everyone watched as the small ship flew towards the massive Vorax mothership. The Vorax didn't fire on it, thinking it was one of their own. At the last moment, the Vorax realized their mistake, but it was too late. The human-controlled ship crashed into the mothership. There was a huge explosion. The giant ship broke apart, pieces falling harmlessly into the ocean. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then cheers erupted all over the world. The Vorax fleet turned and fled, racing back to space. Earth had won. Against all odds, humans had beaten a powerful alien army. As the sun set on the battered but victorious planet, Jae-sung and Yeonji stood together, watching the sky. We did it, Yunji said, smiling. Jae-sung nodded. Yes, but our journey is just beginning. The galaxy now knows we're here. And we're not as weak as they thought. The stars twinkled above them. Somewhere out there, the Vorax were licking their wounds. And maybe, just maybe, other aliens were looking at Earth with new respect. The age of Earth as a small, isolated world was over. A new chapter in human history had begun. 6 months had passed since the great victory over the Vorax. Earth was changing fast. People looked at the stars differently now. They knew they weren't alone, and they knew they could defend themselves. Jae-sung had become a world leader. He worked to keep countries united. It wasn't easy. Some nations wanted to use alien tech to become more powerful than others. But Jae-sung kept reminding them of the bigger picture. We beat the Vorax because we worked together, he would say. We must stay united to face whatever comes next. Yunji led a team of scientists from all over the world. They studied the Vorax ships that had crashed on Earth. Every day, they learned new things about alien technology. One day, Yunji made an exciting discovery. She ran to find Jae-sung, who was in a meeting with world leaders. Sorry to interrupt, she said, out of breath. But I found something amazing. She held up a small device. It looked like a shiny metal ball. It's a star map, she explained. It shows all the planets the Vorax have attacked. And look at this. She pressed a button. A hologram appeared, showing hundreds of stars and planets. These are all the worlds that have fought back against the Vorax, Yunji said. We're not alone in this fight. The room was silent. Everyone stared at the map, realizing how big the galaxy really was. Jae-sung spoke first. Can we contact these other worlds? He asked. Yunji nodded. I think so, but it will take time to figure out how. As they talked, something unexpected happened. The star map started to glow. A voice came from it, speaking a language no one understood. But then, the device translated. Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Galactic Alliance. We fight against the Vorax and others like them. Your victory has not gone unnoticed. We wish to speak with you. Everyone in the room looked at each other in shock. Jae-sung stepped forward. We are honored, he said. How can we meet? The voice replied, prepare your best ship. We will guide you to a safe meeting place. In the weeks that followed, Earth was busy. They built a new spaceship using what they had learned from the Vorax tech. They called it Hope. Jae-sung and Yunji were chosen to go on this important mission. A crew of the best pilots, scientists, and diplomats from around the world joined them. On the day of launch, millions watched as the Hope rose into the sky. It was humanity's first step into the wider galaxy. As they left Earth behind, Jae-sung and Yunji stood by the ship's window. Their planet looked small and blue. It's beautiful, Yunji said. Jae-sung nodded. And now we know how important it is to protect it. Their journey took several days. They followed the star map's directions, going faster than any human had ever traveled before. Finally, they arrived at a space station hidden in an asteroid field. It was huge, with ships from many different alien races docked around it. As the Hope docked, Jae-sung felt nervous but excited. Ready? He asked Yunji. She smiled. Ready. They stepped out of their ship and into the station. Aliens of all shapes and sizes were there to greet them. Some looked almost human. Others were very strange. A tall, golden-skinned being stepped forward. Welcome, humans, it said in a kind voice. We are glad you have joined us. Jae-sung bowed slightly. Thank you for inviting us. We have much to learn. The alien nodded. And we have much to learn from you. Your victory over the Vorax was impressive. It gives hope to all who fight against tyranny in the galaxy. As they walked further into the station, Jae-sung and Yunji saw amazing things. Alien technology beyond their wildest dreams. Maps of the entire galaxy. Plans for battles against evil empires. They realized that Earth's fight against the Vorax was just the beginning. There was a bigger war going on in the galaxy. And now, humans were part of it. That night, as the Earth team rested in their new quarters, Jae-sung looked out at the stars. "We came here thinking we were alone," he said to Yeonji. "But we're not. We're part of something bigger now." Yeonji nodded. "The galaxy thought humans were weak," she said, "but we proved them wrong. And this is just the start of our story." As they drifted off to sleep, the stars outside seemed to twinkle with new meaning. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. A year had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Alliance. The changes on Earth were amazing. Cities now had alien technology. People used star maps to plan vacations to other planets. Earth ships explored distant stars. Jae-sung had become Earth's ambassador to the Alliance. He worked hard to make sure humans were treated fairly. Many alien races still thought humans were weak or primitive. Jae-sung proved them wrong every day. Yeonji led Earth's new science team. They worked with aliens to create incredible inventions. One day, she made a breakthrough that would change everything. Jae-sung. She called excitedly over the space station's comm system. "Come to the lab quickly." When Jae-sung arrived, Yeonji was standing next to a strange machine. It looked like a mix of human and alien tech. "What is it?" Jae-sung asked. Yeonji grinned. "It's a shield generator, but not just any shield. Watch this." She turned it on. A bubble of energy surrounded them. Then she fired a Vorax weapon at it. The shield didn't just stop the blast. It absorbed it and grew stronger. "It learns from attacks," Yeonji explained. "The more you hit it, the tougher it gets." Jae-sung's eyes went wide. This could change everything in the war against the Vorax. News of the invention spread fast. The Alliance leaders were amazed. They had never seen anything like it. But then, alarming news arrived. The Vorax had gathered a massive fleet. They were planning to attack Earth again, this time with help from other evil alien empires. The Alliance called a big meeting. Leaders from hundreds of worlds attended. They all looked worried. "The Vorax fleet is too strong," one alien said. "We should run and hide." Another disagreed. "No, we must fight. But who will lead us?" All eyes turned to Jae-sung. He stood up, feeling the weight of the moment. "Humans know what it's like to be thought of as weak," he said. "But we proved that determination and creativity can beat any enemy. We will lead this fight, and we will win." The room was quiet. Then, slowly, the aliens began to cheer. They had seen human courage before. Now they were ready to follow it. Earth became the center of the war effort. Ships from all over the galaxy came to help. Yeonji's team worked day and night to make enough shield generators for everyone. Finally, the day of battle arrived. The sky was filled with ships from 100 worlds, all there to defend Earth. The Vorax fleet appeared. It was huge, with thousands of ships. For a moment, everyone felt afraid. But Jae-sung's voice came over all the radios. "Remember, we are fighting for our homes, our families, and our future. The Vorax think they are strong because they take from others. We are strong because we stand together. Now, let's show them what real strength is." The battle was fierce. Vorax ships fired their weapons, but the new shields held strong. Earth ships led daring attacks, showing moves the Vorax had never seen before. Hours passed. Slowly, the tide turned. More and more Vorax ships were destroyed or ran away. Then, the Vorax leader's ship appeared. It was massive, bigger than any ship in the Alliance fleet. "This is our chance," Jae-sung said to Yeonji. They were on Earth's flagship, leading the battle. "If we take out their leader, this war is over." Yeonji nodded. She had a plan. Earth's flagship flew straight at the Vorax leader's ship. Other Alliance ships followed, protecting it. The Vorax fired everything they had, but the shields just got stronger. At the last moment, Yeonji activated a special device. It sent out a pulse that shut down all Vorax tech nearby. The huge ship went dark. Jae-sung sent out a message. Vorax leader, your fleet is defeated. Your ship is helpless. Surrender now or be destroyed. There was a long silence. Then a reply came. We surrender. Cheers erupted throughout the Alliance fleet. The battle was over. The war was won. In the days that followed, the galaxy changed. The Vorax Empire fell apart. Planets they had conquered were set free. And Earth was now seen as a leader in the galaxy. Jae-sung and Yeonji stood on a balcony of the Alliance space station, looking out at the stars. We did it, Yeonji said softly. Jae-sung nodded. We showed the galaxy that being underestimated can be a strength. Humans may be young, but we have much to offer. As they watched, a group of alien children ran by, playing with toy Earth ships. They were pretending to be the heroes who saved the galaxy. Jae-sung smiled. The galaxy thought humans were weak, he said. I think we've changed their minds. Yeonji laughed. Yes, and this is just the beginning. Imagine what we'll do next. Together, they looked out at the vast, twinkling galaxy. For humanity, a new age of adventure, discovery, and respect had begun. The stars were no longer out of reach. They were humanity's new home.